when I came out of high school, how many five-star recruits do we have here? Come on. How many one-star recruits do we have? Well, they didn't categorize it back then, but that's what I was. Coming out of Evansville, Rex Mundy High School, I barely was on the radar. I think I had 2 scholarship offers for football. And like I said last night, it was Indiana and Purdue. And so there was never really any choice. But the bottom line is I came in here as a lowly recruit. I think in the spring you guys are going through now, my freshman spring, I think I was 7th on the depth chart of quarterbacks. And by the end of spring, I was the starting quarterback. So the bottom line is, whether you guys are the number 1 player on the team or the last player on the team, you're on the team. And you've got a shot. It's all about what you do with it. It's like when you get drafted into the NFL. Whether you're a number 1 draft pick or whether you're a free agent. And I see this all the time because I'm with the Dolphins and I currently do their radio, and I'm with the team and I see the guys. As long as you're on that roster, doesn't matter whether you're a free agent or a number 1 draft pick, you've got a chance to make that team. You've got a chance to play. You've got a chance to make something of your life. And it's not only what you do on the football field here at Purdue, but while you're here, it's a good thing to get an education. And you can get a good education. Because just in case you don't make it to the next level. Now, I know everybody's thinking about that and wants to. But just in case you don't, I majored in industrial management, graduated in 4 years, and I was perfectly willing in the spring of my senior year to go through the recruiting process to get a job out there in the business world. Industrial management, I figured, well, Procter & Gamble, I'd go and work with them, and maybe one of the other companies, Johnson & Johnson, and I'd go and do that. And then one day I walked over to the old athletic building, and Bob DeMoss, who was my quarterback coach at the time, passed me in the hallway and he says, "Hey, Griese, I hear you got drafted by the Dolphins in the first round." Well, that's the way it was back then. They didn't have, it wasn't on ESPN. ESPN wasn't around. But you never heard about the draft. So he said, yeah. I said, well, I guess I'll go try out with the Dolphins and play a few years and then get on with my life's work. Well, I never got back to the Johnson & Johnson job or the Procter & Gamble job. I played 15 years with the Dolphins, and then I was a broadcaster for 30 years. Got to work with a couple of great people. Don Shula, who was the winningest coach in NFL history. We went to 3 straight Super Bowls, and we won 2 of them. In one of those seasons, we were undefeated. The only team in the NFL that ever went undefeated, and Coach Shula was the reason. And then when I went into broadcasting, there was a guy named Keith Jackson. Now, probably a lot of you guys may not know Keith, but he was the icon of college football. Oh, Nelly. So I got to work with him for 15 years. So my point is, what I'm getting at before I got off on that sidetrack was, get your education while you're here. Don't plan on playing in the NFL. It's like I told my 3 sons. I had 3 sons. I said, don't plan on doing what I did. I kind of slipped through the cracks. I didn't come here to be a football player. I came here to get educated and go on to the business world. But while I was here and while I was on that athletic field, I busted my butt. You only go around, you only get this opportunity one time. Don't come, I hear guys all the time looking back when they're in their 30s or their 40s or their 50s, and they say, Yeah, he says, I was at this school or I was at that school and I had a scholarship, but you know, I didn't give it all my best. I didn't play my best. I didn't, you know, I had a good time. I was into girls or this, that, or the other thing. And I really didn't, you know, I really didn't give it my all. Why in the hell wouldn't you give it your all? You only go through one time and give it your best shot. You know, I came in here as a lowly quarterback who was the seventh guy on the quarterback list and started my sophomore year, and all I wanted to do was just be as good as I could be. I just wanted to play. If I was running the scout team, I wanted to be the best scout team quarterback there was. Whether I was a one-star quarterback, a one-star recruit, or a five-star recruit, be the best you can be. You're going to make the guy across from you much better if you're participating and playing as good as you can play. And if you are a five-star quarterback, or a five-star recruit, and you are one of the top guys, I see this so often. I was, you know, Keith and I were broadcasting, doing games around, and we'd go to Michigan, we'd go to USC, we'd go to Alabama, we'd go around the country, and you could see the difference. Here's an athlete, an All-American athlete, and here's a guy, another guy that was supposed to be an All-American, and he wasn't playing that well. So what's the difference? Well, the guy that was playing well in the All-American, he had the five-star talent, and he didn't think he did. And he busted his butt every day on the practice field, in the classroom, in the meetings for the football, to make himself better. If you're an athlete, no matter where you are, if you're the best of the best, try to be better. Don't say, hey, I'm the best, I can beat these guys, That's not the right attitude. The ones that are the great ones say, hey, I'm good, but I need to get better. And that's the ones the coaches look at and say, he's a good kid, he's going to be our leader. And the ones that don't have that top talent, bust your butt, because like I said before, you only go around life in once. You only have this opportunity once. You're only here in Purdue for 4 or 5 years, one time. Do the best you can do on the field and do the best you can do in the classroom. Don't bank on being in the NFL. Bank on your education and going somewhere else, and then maybe you'll walk through the athletic building and the coaches say, hey, I hear you got drafted. And give it a good shot. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Have a great year.